This is our destination today. It's a peak in the Estrella Mountains. As you can see behind me, it's quite a contrast and beautiful peak. Join us as we explore and discover all the gems on this hike in the Estrella Mountains. You can come into this trailhead from the north or the south. We're going to come in from the south. We're actually headed out of the town of Maricopa on Highway 238, headed west. And as we go down this road, we're going to actually turn right at this location and head up towards an airport. And as we hit the airport, we'll make a loop around the airport and then continue to head up to the trailhead. After driving down the road 8 or 10 miles, we make a right. We actually follow these high wires quite a ways before we turn right. We take this road a couple of miles and then we just turn right in here to the trailhead. Welcome to Hidden Gems of Nature. We're at the trailhead for our hike today. I'll pan around the parking lot so you can see what it looks like. We're in the Estrella Mountains on the west side of the Phoenix Metropolitan area. I've never hiked in these mountains before. I'm kind of excited about this hike today. There's not a lot of springs or water in these mountains, so it should be a fairly arid hike. I'm prepared with a lot of water. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see new hidden gems of nature on this side of the Phoenix Metropolitan area. We're only on this flat for about a quarter of a mile, and then we turn and go straight up the ridge, and it's all uphill from there. We've come out of the wash. I don't know if you can see it down below me, but we've come up out of the wash and we're now on the ridge line. We'll now follow the ridge line up to the peak. I'm standing here in this cholla garden, although I don't know that you can use the word garden and cholla in the same sentence, but I'm standing here in these cholla, and we'll now head up to the peak, follow the ridge line. You can see how steep this hike is by these little short switchbacks, and you'll have a lot of these short switchbacks all the way up. This hike is just under 3 miles with a 2,400 foot elevation gain. That's roughly 750 to 800 feet per mile, which is pretty steep. And there's very few level spots on this trail, so enjoy them when you get them. Even after less than a mile of hiking, we get quite a view from this point. I think we'll be full of views the entire time. There are no trees on this hike, a few palo verdes, and that's about it. Enjoy the views as you hike. You can see that I'm the only one on the trail this morning, although I did pass 4 different groups of hikers on the way back down. We're close to a mile up the trail at this point. I believe that this is our destination today. I'll kind of pan back. I'm at a point right now where I can look out from a little saddle. We have you can see the whole mountain range as it goes south, and this iconic view of a swirl cactus. It's about as Arizonan as you can get. You can see how far away the truck is. We're probably 1.5 miles from the parking lot, and as you can see, we're following the ridge line the whole way. One of the only level portions of the hike up on the ridge. We'll take full advantage of that. The sun's just starting to peek up over the mountains, so we've been fortunate enough to walk in the shade. There's the sun right there. You can tell by the trail how steep these mountains are. It's constant switchbacks the entire time. You can see how narrow this ridge line is as we hike along it. Down to my left, we're straight down the mountain. And if you come back to the right, back over the trail, see how steep it is down that side of the mountain. There's our destination right there. Kind of excited to be there. We got less than a mile to be there. Well, here we go. That's the first sign of what we're on this hike for. Quartz. And there is our peak. As arid as it is out here, I didn't think we'd see any animal sign, and this is the only animal sign we saw on the entire trip. As we get closer to the top, you can see just how steep this mountain is by these cliffs. in the distance, and actually this cliff right below me. It's interesting, I get to this point in the trail and there's actually a split and there's cairns on both sides. There's some cairns there that take me to the right, and there's some cairns up above me that take me to the left. I'm sure that either route will probably lead us to where we're going. You can see the peak behind me. We're not very far from it, maybe a little over a quarter of a mile, but this part of the trail is pretty questionable. So you're gonna wanna just be careful, keep an eye out for it, and you should do just fine. In fact, I'll show this video right here behind me. There's a large pile of boulders, and the trail makes you think you're supposed to go up over it, but really you stay to the right of it. So good luck finding your way to the top of the peak. This is the boulders to the left. The trail actually dips down here to the right. You can't see it real well. The trail looks like it goes right into the boulders, but it doesn't. It goes right down here to the right. This is our back trail. I'm gonna pan around because this section has got a lot of scrambling in it, and you've got to watch for the cairns and the trail or you'll lose it. But if you follow the ridge line, you'll be just fine. Eventually you'll get back to the trail. The last 100 yards or so is also scramble, so plan on the last quarter mile being pretty much a scramble. You can see the quartz as it's strewn down the mountain. It's fallen off the peak that's right up above us. I'll pan around so you can see all this quartz that's scattered all along this slope down below the peak. You can see how stark white it is compared to the surrounding rock. And right there to our destination. Pretty cool. This is the back side of the peak. This is a crevasse going back down through. This crevice leads down to the east side. The east north-facing slopes are a little greener than the slopes we came up on the west side. The trail leads you to this point right here, and once you get here, it's a little scramble up to the top. So we'll put away the camera and scramble up to the top. We came up this back side right here, but you can actually come up the front side as well. There's a little section where people have come right up the face. This actually might be a little easier. I think I'll go down this way. Came off that scramble and here we are on the peak. All of this quartz up here, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Wow, gotta like this. Well, we've made it to the top of our destination. As you can see, it's really quite a beautiful peak up here. The contrast on this rock compared to everything around it is pretty significant. So it really makes for quite an enjoyable sight and nice place to sit and rest before we head back down the mountain. Wanted to videotape some of these rocks up here. It's pretty cool up here. I don't know if the shade is gonna cause too much contrast on the video, but it's a pretty neat place. Walk up through here so you can get a little better view of it. Looking down on top of some of these rocks. This quartz is incredible. It's pretty cool sitting here among the quartz. I'm just enjoying a little snack before I head back down the trail to my truck. Join us as we explore and discover this beautiful peak in the Estrella Mountains. This is a view looking west from the peak. Not much out there, a lot of desert mountains, but quite a view. And this is looking towards the north or the northwest. This is looking north and east from the mountain peak that we're on. You can see back into the Phoenix Metropolitan area. In fact, that looks like downtown Phoenix right there. And that looks like South Mountain Preserve. Some cool hikes in there as well. Hope you enjoy your hike here in the Estrella Mountains.